the tone, 15 hours, 8 minutes, Coordinated Universal Time.
13 hours, 8 minutes, Coordinated Universal Time.
At the tone, 13 hours, 9 minutes, Coordinated Universal Time.
At the tone, 13 hours, 9 minutes, Coordinated Universal Time.
At the tone, 13 hours, 10 minutes, Coordinated Universal Time.
13 hours, Coordinated Universal Time.
이번에 나가노를 여행 중인데요. 도쿄에서 나가노까지는 신칸센으로 1시간 반쯤 걸립니다. 일기 신칸센에 대해 소개해드리겠습니다. 신칸센은 여러 방면으로 달리고 있는데요. 신칸센 차량은 디자인도 다양하고 다양한 역층이 있죠.
신칸센은 일본을 여행할 때 아주 편리한데요. 신칸센을 이용하면 도쿄역에서 많은 주요 도시로 빠른 시간에 이동할 수 있습니다. 예를 들어 도쿄에서 교토까지는 약 500km인데요. 빠르면 5시간 남짓에 갈 수 있어요.
그런데 차량에서는 사람들은 보통 어떻게 시간을 보내죠?
네, 학장 밖을 보며 달리기도 하고 도시락을 먹거나 책을 읽거나 잠을 자는 사람도 있는데요. 산에는 대체적으로 조용하고 평화합니다.
네, 쾌적한 시간을 보낼 수 있겠네요.
일본말 첫걸음 어떠셨습니까?
네, 다음 시간도 기대해주세요.
本台面向亚洲大陆的华语广播，每天播出9次，播出时间和频率如下：日本时间15点10分15195千赫，19点7375千赫，20点20分21点40分22点20分11660千赫，23点40分9560千赫，0点30分11910千赫。详细内容请查看以下网址 nhk.jp/jimmy。
这里是 NHK
传媒华语广播。本次华语新闻使用北海播音。
Which is interesting, and as far as I understand, unique to Korea, which is a $150 billion shipbuilding cooperation initiative being dubbed as the MASGA project, Make American Shipbuilding Great Again, but which is a Korean idea. And the finance minister, Koo Yoon-chol, described it as, or has said that it's the most significant part of the negotiations, the most noteworthy aspect of the agreement in his opinion. What do you think of that? And can you explain a little bit about it?
Okay, well, it probably was the best card that Korea had to offer. How much of a role did it play? There seems to be sort of a mixed report coming out of the United States and Korea. It seemed like Secretary Lutnick was very excited about the idea, and even though no U.S. military analysts have commented on the trade deal, beforehand, there was a lot of concern by the U.S. military analysts as well as some military officials that U.S. naval capacity was not as strong as it should be, and virtually the only country that could help the United States to strengthen the naval capacity was Korea. The top three ship-making countries are China, Korea, and Japan, but Japan's trade capabilities, or at least in terms of total tonnage, is much less than Korea. And while China's shipbuilding capacity is bigger, for the very reason the United States wants to strengthen its Navy is to deal with China. So China obviously could be no help there. So at least on the technical side, how much it helped get support, I think the shipbuilding initiative did play an important part. Having said that, though, it's a bit unknown how much it affected President Trump. President Trump had expressed interest on Korean shipbuilding in the past, but there seems to be some report that says that Trump was interested not necessarily in shipbuilding, but on the total amount of investment. But anyhow, it did play, I think, an important part in getting support for the Korean deal. So I think it was a fairly good move to have made, and as I said, it probably was one of the better cards in the Korean deck.
Yeah, that's interesting. Well, the headline, of course, is that the tariffs have come down from 25% to 15%. And in return for this, Korea has pledged to invest $350 billion in the U.S. and also to buy $100 billion worth of American energy products. I wonder if we can get your thoughts on part of this. You know, the U.S. Commerce Secretary Harold Lutnick says that 90% of the profits from this $350 billion investment will be going to the American people. I wonder if you could explain a little bit about that, just sort of talk a bit about those main aspects of the deal.
Okay, well, the statement is basically the same statement that Secretary Lutnick made about investment by Japan when they made their tariff deal. Both sides seem to disagree somewhat on the interpretation of not only the where the investment and how the investment will be used, but also how much the gains from the investment will be going to which country. Now, on the Japanese
the growing significance of the 1975 Paris Resolution and the founding of the democratic Vietnam, President Wilson put in place rigid strategic program and worked in contact rapid paper functions online and now happening in Vietnam. The more time passes, we have more context to understand the significance of the 1945 Paris Resolution and the birth of the Democratic Republic of Vietnam. That Party General Secretary So Lam after gathering in Hanoi on Thursday with revolutionary war veterans, free uprising veterans, Chloe Vietnamese mother, generals and heroes of the armed forces. General Secretary So Lam said. The more time passes, the more opportunities for talking and sustaining bilateral relationships. According to a recent U.S. CDC research, 82% of surveyed U.S. companies said they were profitable in China in 2024.
The Council said it's issued nearly 3.9 million commercial certificates, up about 13% from a year ago. It reflects the resilience and adaptability of China's export-driven companies. China's cyberspace regulator has summoned NVIDIA over alleged security risks concerning its H20 AI chip sold to China. The Private Space Administration of China asked the company to provide explanations and proof. The regulator said the move aims to protect Chinese users' cyberspace and data security. Some U.S. lawmakers recently called for advanced chips exported abroad to be equipped with tracking and positioning functions. U.S. artificial intelligence experts disclosed that technology on tracking and positioning and remote shutdown of NVIDIA chips has matured. Myanmar's formed a new union government and a state security and peace commission after the country's military rulers ended the 4.5-year state of emergency. The National Defense and Security Council is the governmental led by Yoon Yeo-sah, and security will fall under Senior General Min Aung. Min has been the de facto ruler since the military took control in 2021. The change in emergency status and government organization comes alongside the announcement of December elections as an off-ramp to the persistent violence in the country. A South Korean court has issued a warrant to arrest former President Yoon Suk-yeol to forcibly bring him in for questioning over allegations of election meddling. A team led by Special Counsel Min Chung-ki requested the warrant after Yoon defied two summons to appear for questioning. This team is investigating allegations that the ousted leader and his wife meddled in the 2022 parliamentary by-elections. Authorities also suspect Yoon of making false statements during the 2021 presidential primaries about his wife's alleged involvement in stock price manipulation and constitutes an election law violation. U.S. President Donald Trump announced that Washington's reached a full and complete trade deal with South Korea, setting 50% tariffs on its exports. And Trump says South Korea has agreed to invest $350 billion in projects owned and controlled by the United States. Kim Jong-un is the South Korean presidential chief of staff for policy. The reciprocal tariff the U.S. is to impose on South Korean goods on August 3rd is lower at 15% from the 25% that is earlier announced. We have had a U.S. tariff on autos, on net exports, lower at 15% as well. What marks the role of the agreement is that we agreed with the U.S. to expand cooperation in the field of shipbuilding. The $150 billion Korean-U.S. cooperation fund からお送りしている日本語放送です。こちらはベトナムの公園放送局です。この放送は昨日からお送りしている日本語放送です。リスナーの皆さん、こんにちは、メンです。気温の花が晴れ、気温が最低28度、最高33度です。
この放送は NHK ワールド国際ラジオ日本です。東京からお送りします。
This is NHK World, Radio Japan, Tokyo.
この放送は NHK ワールド国際ラジオ日本です。東京からお送りします。
This is NHK World, Radio Japan, Tokyo.
この放送は NHK ワールド国際放送ラジオ日本です。東京からお送りします。
This is NHK World, Radio Japan, Tokyo.
この放送は NHK ワールド国際放送ラジオ日本です。東京からお送りします。
This is NHK World, Radio Japan, Tokyo.
ワールドジャパンが山場だね先生。